What are you afraid of? Bees! Do you know who else should be afraid of these stinging little buzzers? Yes, your dog. Have you ever had a bee sting? Ow, they hurt. You get a burning sensation. Your dog probably feels the same. The funny thing is, bee venom is actually not toxic, but it can cause redness and swelling at the area. So the real problem with the bee sting is there's something else that gets even more enraged about that bee sting. Yeah, that's your immune system. The immune system goes haywire. What the heck is this? And overwhelms the system. This overkill from your immune system is what causes the allergic reactions, hives, swelling, respiratory problems. Unfortunately, your immune system can get worse with each successive sting. This also includes wasps and hornets. And as a result, the allergic reactions can also be more severe. When you hear a buzzing sound, do you look closely to see what species it is? No! If you're like me, you run for your life. There are two kinds of bees. There are honeybees, which, oh, I love my honey. And there are also spelling bees. Bees are not predators. They only sting in self-defense. Sadly, they die after they sting you. I don't think that's fair. Wasps, on the other hand, can sting you over and over and over. So how does your dog get stung by a bee? Well, this is my dog, Jaggy. I'll tell you how he got stung. So there Jaggy was, walking along the grass, minding his own business, and ouch! He got stung by a bee in his paw. Other dogs think that that buzzing sound is a game. They'll leap into the air and try and catch them with their mouth. Guess what happens? They get stung around the mouth or even inside the mouth. It's time to sting a myth. According to German saga, 7 hornets can kill a horse. Busted! Hornets actually have way less venom than a bee, but they have 5% acetylcholine, which when they sting, it hurts. It's very, very painful. So how do you recognize it when your dog gets stung? Well, like Jaggy, you might see them walking across the grass and they leap up in the air, cry in pain, or they paw at their mouth if they've eaten a bee. But how are they gonna react? Well, it depends on the type of creature that stung them, a bee, a wasp, or a hornet, and their mental state of their immune system, maybe not much or very aggressive. It also depends on their pain tolerance. Are they a wimp or a tough guy? That first burning pain is what happens right away. And then it might just disappear. Your dog will likely lay down and try and lick at their paw, but don't get too close because they're sensitive. So if your dog has an allergic reaction, it can happen immediately or even 24 hours later. So don't be surprised. So doctor, if my dog has an allergic reaction, what is the one symptom I'll see? Unfortunately, there's not just one symptom, there's a whole menu. One of the first things you might see is some swelling at the sting site, or even in their face and their eyes, they get really puffy. I call it Sharpay syndrome. Other thing you might see is hives. And I'm not talking about beehives, I'm talking about hives all over the body. You also might see them having trouble breathing. That is pretty scary. And vomiting and diarrhea, that can happen immediately, and sometimes there's blood in the diarrhea or vomit. Your dog may also just drool, yucky drool. That's especially if they've been stung in the mouth. Then there is the mother of all reactions, anaphylactic shock, otherwise known as anaphylaxis. This happens very quickly. Your dog will collapse, their gums will go pale, and you need to run to the vet. So what do? If you can find the stinger, it's a great idea to try and remove it. Careful, because your dog may not be cooperative. The best way is to try and scrape that stinger out. And you can scrape it using a credit card, maybe the edge of a knife or your fingernail. If you squeeze that little stinger, more venom is going to go in there, and that hurts. If you don't see any symptoms other than a little bit of pain or redness at the sting site, definitely watch them closely for at least 24 hours. If they're starting to have some allergic symptoms, you want to get to your vet right away. And of course, anaphylaxis, you need to run to the vet. So what happens at the vet? Well, we see bee stings all the time. Your vet will know right what to do. They will check all the vitals, the gum color, the temperature, the blood pressure, and the heart rate. If your dog looks happy and acting like your usual self, even if they have hives or a puffy Sharpay face, your vet will likely give some injections to help combat that allergic reaction. If you didn't already find the stinger, your vet will actually look really closely, and see if they can find and remove the stinger. If your dog is having anaphylactic shock, they will start emergency treatment immediately. It's time to go backstage. Let's do some diagnostics. So, if your dog is really symptom-free, you probably don't need any diagnostics. But if they're having anaphylaxis, that is life-threatening. The vet will want to do blood work to make sure the liver is functioning, and they will monitor the blood pressure because the blood pressure can really drop. They will also do an ultrasound to look inside the abdomen and see if there's any fluid that's accumulated. They also will likely need hospitalization to help support them until the reaction has dissipated. So how do you prevent your dog from getting a bee sting? I have an idea. Why don't you get them this great big plastic bubble? I'm just kidding. If your dog didn't have an allergic reaction to the first bee sting, that can change over time, so you really need to stay alert. After they had an anaphylactic reaction, you need to really try and stay away from bees or wasps or hornets. Dogs do not connect the dots. A dog's been stung by a bee, they'll go do it again. And there's also an EpiPen. I think most of you know what that is. You can get a written prescription to buy that to keep handy just in case you're somewhere where you can't get emergency care right away. I have good news. Most dogs, even if they have anaphylaxis, can go home within 12 hours. If your dog has had a severe allergic reaction, you may want to consider immunotherapy. Basically, it desensitizes them to the bee venom. and that is done at a dermatologist. Which creature can tolerate thousands of bee stings without any ill effect? Yes, the honey-loving bear. Why do bears tolerate bee stings? Yeah, when they're digging out the hives to get their honey, their thick coat protects them from a lot of the stings. Right around their nose and mouth, they actually do get stung by a lot of bees, but they're so big, it doesn't affect them. Time for your 4 key takeaway points. Point number 1, bees sting, ouch! Point number 2, your dog may not have an allergic reaction to a bee sting. Point number 3, if they do have an allergic reaction, seek veterinary care. Point number 4, if they have anaphylaxis, you need to go to emergency right now. Hey, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, would you be so nice as to like, subscribe, and sting that notification button so that you never miss a future video. See you backstage soon.